Your 22nd ranked Temple Owls, yes, 22nd in the AP poll, play tomorrow night, 7 p.m., against East Carolina in an imperative American Athletic Conference game. And now joining us on the hotline is a former kicker for the Temple Owls, played at Temple University from 1999 until 2002, and always finds a way to come on back and watch the cherry and white, and that is our good friend Cap Poklemba. Cap, Zach, and Mike here on Temple's campus. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I'm a bit disappointed with you, Cap, and I'll tell you right now why that is. I saw you in the parking lot on Saturday before Temple had a victory up against UCF by 14 points, and we were talking in the parking lot, and you're usually the big tailgate guru here for all these games. It's usually you and Steve Conjar that get people all rowdy in the parking lot, and I asked you if you had your chili, and you told me that you didn't have a staple for tailgating in chili. What's going on this year? The Temple football team 6-0. Why are you taking the food standards of your tailgate down a bit this year?
Yeah, it's been tough. That late game kind of got me a little bit. I'm driving up from Maryland, so we finished so late I couldn't get the car in there. We had to go to the hotel. But the chili will be there, probably not next week, but definitely for Memphis. So it'll make its way back, I promise. Well,
I'll be stopping by, and I expect a bowl of it each and every year. You tell me how good this chili is, and I've never tried it.
Yeah, you got to stop by. We'll take care of you.
For sure. You've seen this Temple football team when they were at their worst. When you were here under Coach Bobby Wallace, your teams only had from 2 to 4 wins a season. For this team to be 6-0 and bowl eligible in their first 6 games of the year, especially when they got snubbed out of a bowl appearance last year, as an alum, how much pride do you have about this Temple football team this year?
Well, I tell you what, there's nothing like it. As you said, I kind of saw the bottom of the barrel here, not only when I played, but after I played. And to see this team and these coaches and these players doing this, I'm proud to fly my flag down here in Maryland every weekend. And it's made its way up more than just on Saturdays now. So it's great to be a Temple Owl right now.
This Temple team, as good as the start has been from a record standpoint, they don't get off to the start of football games at their best. It was an ugly start to the UCF game and other games this season. Even when they beat Penn State at one point in that football game, and we'll take the win up against Penn State, it was 74 years, but they were down 10-0 in that football game. ECU is a team that they score 70 first-quarter points. You watch this Temple football team for a long time. What do they need to do to get off to a better start up against ECU tomorrow night?
Well, the defense is going to – we all know they're going to come out firing, so I'll be really surprised to see East Carolina do that with our defense. But with that said, I think that's what sets this team apart from really any team that I've ever been a part of or seen at Temple. Being able to come out slow and still somehow, some way find a way to win. That is truly the staple of the best teams, no matter what sport it is, coming out and not having the best night and still, whether it's a game like UMass and blocking an extra point and returning it, that's the best teams out there, the ones that find a way to win when you're not quite at your best. But it's going to take everything we got tomorrow night because East Carolina's a good football team. But, defense wins championships, and that's going to, carry this team, I think.
We're talking to former Temple kicker and avid Temple football fan, Cap Poklemba. And Cap, how has the atmosphere changed over the years in the stands? I know that my freshman year, and I'm now a senior at Temple University, I saw the number 99 jersey running around trying to get everyone excited and standing up. Are more people standing up in the stands now? Because Zach and I are in the press box. We can't always see what all the alumni are doing.
Yeah, that I've retired that jersey to my wife, but it's been a lot of fun this year. I tell you what, I told people after the homecoming game, it was by far the best atmosphere I've ever seen at a Temple football game. And obviously when we play Penn State or some of the bigger teams here, they're bringing a lot of fans, just like we are. But it was all cherry, and that was something I don't ever remember. In my 15 or so years that I've been involved with this program. So it was truly incredible.
Cap, I just want to take you back down memory lane because Mike was bringing up his freshman year. It was my freshman year as well. That was the only time I was able to sit into the stands for a Temple game before we got all professional calling the football games for this station. I'll never forget it. I think they called it the Mayor Cup. It was between Temple and Villanova, and I'm a freshman all excited to go to my first football game. It was Tyler Medikevich's first football game, Nate D. Smith as well. I actually think Nate D. Smith had an interception in that game, and you come over and you start yelling at the student body. You go, I'm an old hack. I've been on this football team for years, but you got to get up and make some noise. And you were just going absolutely nuts, and I'll never forget that. It was great.
Well, and fortunately we got a lot of great students now, and sometimes I kind of look at it. I know how much of a boost we got. When the fans get behind you, I never forget jogging off the field when we came back and I think either went ahead of Miami or tied up with Miami over at UPenn that one year, and the fans were going berserk. And I realized how much of an impact that had. And I used to do it as a fan for basketball, but the students need to understand that they've got to get that place going. The alumni are not going to be the loudest, and it really relies on those students. So that high energy is what everybody needs. And I'm getting older. I can't do it anymore. But, we've got some great students that have truly followed along what, guys like me and guys that I followed when I was a student, did.
Talking about getting the place going, East Carolina is going to try and get their place going as they are 3-point favorites. They're canceling classes at 3 p.m. Not sure if you saw that, to make sure that their game under the lights is all blacked out. They're going to have a blackout for that game. The fact that ECU is 3-point favorites, do you see that as a sign of how good ECU is, or is that just disrespect to a 6-0 Temple team?
I don't want to say it's disrespect. I've always liked going in as a little bit of an underdog. I don't think they quite know what we're going to bring to the table tomorrow night. We've had a couple, I won't say down games, but as Zach said, we came out a little bit slow in the last few games here. But when it comes down to it, this is a 6-0 Temple football team. You can't take that away from them. They're going to show up tomorrow night, and I'm very confident, cautiously confident that we're going to come out and we're going to play good football. And it's going to be loud, but these guys, when you get them, I always told people I didn't hear a thing when I got out there to kick. Everything goes quiet. So these guys can be ready to play tomorrow night.
I don't want to sound pessimistic because I think Temple's going to win the football game, and they're off to a great start, and I can't stress enough how much wonders that means for this university to be 6-0 with all the crap the football team has gone through and continues to go through from some of the media in this town. But a big key for Temple, and last year it bit them in the you-know-what, was turnovers. And P.J. Walker turned over the ball way too much last year. Now, he reduced those numbers this year, but he still had 2 interceptions up against UMass. And I get it, you're not going to be perfect. But up against UCF, he was staring down his receivers, wasn't really utilizing his checkdowns, and he threw a pick 6 and could have maybe even had another interception in that game. How does P.J. need to improve for this game up against ECU when it comes to protecting the football cap?
Well, I think he's done a pretty good job this year, and obviously having Jihad back there running the ball like he is, we just need to be smart with, number one, with our play calling, and he needs to throw the ball away if it's not there. I do know we've done a lot of we're running and running and running, but if they're going to stack the box, he's going to have to step up and make some throws. That's the bottom line. We can't be too stubborn about wanting to establish that run. Sometimes it's not there. If it's not there, we're going to have to do something else. And I really think that's going to be a key for our guys tomorrow night is, we got to take what they give us. PJ's got to protect the football. Our punt returners, kickoff returners, they got to protect the football. That was, big the other day. We can't turn the ball over. If we turn the ball over just like East Carolina did last year with us, it's going to be a tough game for us. But if we hold on to the football and take what they give us, I like our defense bringing this team home tomorrow night.
Cap Poklemba joins us a few more with him. Zach, Gelb, and Mike Zahn here with you on WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. Make sure you download the iHeartRadio application today on your mobile devices and tablets. You can take WHIP with you wherever you go. Jihad Thomas, you were just talking about him for a brief second. This was a guy that played with P.J. Walker in high school, and he was originally on the defensive side of the ball, and P.J. said, let's bring him over to the offensive side of the ball last year. Did you ever expect, though, Jihad Thomas would be putting up this production? Because he's just been sensational this year, Cap.
Oh, yeah, it's been fantastic. And I'd like to say that, I believed it all the way, and but there's no way. But with that said, one of the things this coaching staff has done is, they're taking guys and putting them in the right spot, whether it's putting guys from offense to defense or defense to offense, or, just look at the recruiting. We're not bringing in these 4- and 5-star guys all the time. We got a few, but they're taking guys that are, 3-star players, 2-star players, and they're coaching them up. And that's, I really trust. I was not a Matt Rule guy at the very beginning. I'll be totally honest with you, but he truly has shown me what he can do as a coach over the last 2 years. both coaching on the field as well as coaching guys up and putting them in the right position for us to win.
He's a fantastic recruiter, and he just brings a certain level of energy to this program. And Matakevich was one of those guys that wasn't the highest recruited player in the country, and he goes out there and he eclipses 400 tackles in his career this past weekend up against UCF. That guy, though, even when his freshman year, when he stepped on the field, you knew he was going to be a playmaker after you saw him after a game one. Though, when you take a look at Tyler Matakevich, how do you think he's going to project on that next level? Because this is a guy that should be playing on Sundays in the National Football League.
There's no question in my mind. I mean, he is by far one of the best defensive football players I have ever seen. He's just a monster. He's got a nose for the ball. I'm still waiting. I got to find out where these kids are getting this freckles and football T-shirts. That really get me fun. But he's really one of my favorite players that I've ever had the opportunity to watch or play with. Obviously I didn't play with him, but to watch on the field for the Temple Owls, he's truly the heart of this defense. He's going to be hard to replace next year.
Real quickly, before we let you run, as Cap Poklemba joins us, Austin Jones has made a nice transformation. Last year, he was not consistent kicking the football, and Temple was still trying to replace McManus, being 2 years removed from him. Now he's really settling in. You've been a kicker. You've done it from year to year, and you were a lot more consistent in your career. But from a mental standpoint as a kicker, when you have a really bad year, how do you bounce back and do what Austin Jones is doing this year?
Well, we kickers have to have short memories, and that's the bottom line. Austin's doing a heck of a job this year. Really, he's, especially in that first game, just putting those points on the board makes a huge difference in the confidence of the team. And, without him kicking the way he is this year, we're not 6-0. That's the bottom line. It's great for him to come back this year, but I also think it's good that it's his job. And, a lot of times we talk about, this guy's right behind him, or let's try this guy. I'm not a big fan of that. I went through that a little bit of my career, and it's great to know that you have the confidence of the team, the coaches, and that makes a big difference when you go out to kick the ball. He's done a fantastic job so far this year.
Cap, last one with you. I was on Twitter last night, and I saw you were getting into it with Reuben Frank, who covers the Eagles here in Philadelphia for Comcast and Sports Radio 94 WIP. It still baffles me. And we had Mike Silsky on, who wrote I thought it was a stupid article after the Penn State game, and he just ignored a lot of facts and never reached out to Temple for comment about the whole athletic cuts. And this is what I say. Hey, I get it. Every AD in the country wants a big-time football program, but those cuts were made to be compliant with Title IX and to fund those other Olympic sports teams and to make them better. You don't see 24, 25 teams anymore in college athletics. You cut down those teams, and that was what Temple was just doing. It just still baffles me, though, Cap, that still you have a few writers that never go to games, and they just hate Temple, and they just go out there, and they continue to knock a football team when they're having so much success because of those cuts. And, hey, I didn't want to see the cuts happen, but they had to happen. Heck, even my freshman year, my roommate was on one of the teams that got cut. I just don't understand what these writers are doing anymore, Cap.
Yeah, I don't know Reuben. Obviously, I don't listen to a whole lot of Philly radio or anything like that. But being a former two-sport athlete, having played baseball and being a part of one of those teams that was cut, it's no good. But with that said, I completely understand. I mean, we're competing against other AAC schools that have 18 programs. We were at 24, I believe. So, you just can't fund those sports. Not to mention, I mean, we used to drive ourselves to baseball practice 35, 40 minutes away in Cheltenham every day. And that's not a Division I program. So if you can't fund these programs and do it the right way, you have to make tough decisions sometimes. And that's what happened. It's tough, but that's what happens in the world of Division I athletics.
It's funny how whenever they write these articles, like Silsky's articles, it talked about a bunch of people that were cut and how furious they were with the football team. And it doesn't take that much research to find people that were cut and that, hey, they're upset, but they still understand why these cuts were made, like yourself. It's always funny how those people never get included in any of these articles, Cap.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. I mean, I'm an athletic director myself, and, I deal with the same kind of things on a different level, at a high school level. But, you have to do what's best for your program as a whole. And you brought up Title IX, too. That was a big part of this whole thing here. The way Title IX works, Title IX is a fantastic idea in theory, but there's some things that need to be looked at. Is it truly the best way, the most fair way to make this happen? But that had a big impact on it as well. But it was not all about football. It was about our programs in general and what was is best for Temple University athletics.
Awesome perspective today, Cap. We appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we'll be seeing you
got it.
for Halloween in Memphis, and I'll be expecting that nice bowl of that mean chili that you cook up.
You got it. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it.